money you see being thrown around the world today, how do you feel about the amount of money that our pro-black athletes and actors, rappers, etc., the amount of money they make? Do you think they have a duty, an unwritten duty to the community? Because obviously a lot of them don't fulfill it if there is such a thing. So what's your take on it? Because it's easy to speak a lot of times when you're not in a fortunate position. We all, people always say what they will do if they had this. You know what I mean? So I'm not so quick to judge nobody, and I don't count people's pockets. But it's just a moment of transparency, because to move the community forward, like anybody else, you look at the Jewish community or any Asian community, they find ways, to bundle their money together. And the most successful of them, they all come back and contribute. You know what I mean? That's how they move forward. So what's your take on it? Do you think, a man's money is his money, obviously, or, dudes? Because you got people, let's be real, that same guy, if he was in the church, he would give his tithes, right? So why don't we have ties to the community? You know what I mean? So,
as far as a lot of the black athletes and entertainers, a lot of them go into the industry and achieve success and financial stability or financial success very early. They be in their teens, maybe the majority of the time. So
that's true.
They're not thinking on the wavelength. Oh, let me help my community. Shit, they just still trying to get theirs. They still trying to stunt. So, like you said, not judging them, because you got to understand that mindset. But just like Mr. Law.
Okay, not to cut you off, but that's true. So where are the elders? Where's that next generation? There's already to be something set up, is what I'm saying. Obviously, if I'm 20 years old, I don't know what to do. But there's already 40, 50-year-old guys who already traveled this path, and we already have a system in place. But go ahead, finish what you were saying.
See, okay, even with that, there's 50-year-old guys, elders that have traveled this path. Why aren't they handing down this information? Disconnect. There is a disconnect between the younger guys and the elders. The disconnect must be like a lack of respect. Otherwise, I do believe, these older guys, the older wealthy guys, will go to these younger successful guys with some mentoring, and they are trying to do. You see it in podcasts today with Gilly and the one cat, trying to talk to these rappers that's all hung up on that drill music, like Law was talking about, and they're definitely trying, but it's either in you or it's not. At the end of the day, it's either in you or it's not. You're either gonna talk about helping the community, or you're not. That's just what I believe.
Yeah, I agree with Willie, man. It's either you're going to help or not. But I know a lot of people do stuff behind closed doors, but people don't see. So society, we're so quick to be like, oh, he got a bag, she got a bag. What they doing for us? Well, how you think those kids ate on the weekend? Or how you think those kids got those clothes? Or how you think those kids was able to travel in luxury and this and that? So there's a lot of, I learned that being a nonprofit is like, when you become anonymous, you don't do it. True, people don't do it for the glorification of doing it. They do it from their heart. And the people have to put stuff, sometimes you have to put it out there to let people know, hey, XYZ did XYZ for the Lady Quips, right? But half the time, people don't want to be known about what they're doing. And sometimes that can throw the community off as well. It's like, man, the homeboy got millions and he ain't doing nothing for the community. It's like you don't want to glorify what you're doing, because that's not the true reason of giving a charity. So it can be a slippery slope too. And a lot of cats, I hear like, well, look at the Quip Stadium. You have all these millionaires that went through the Quip Stadium, this and that. But then the same people that are saying that is like, well, why don't you start, a conversation with them, or won't you start, try to find funding, for the new Quip Stadium? Why it take this long? So it depends. It starts with a conversation, and people, you got people who always want to talk about why somebody ain't doing something. It's like, well, why you ain't start doing something?
Exactly.
It's like, why you ain't start? You know what I mean? And like, to myself, even though I ain't got it all, when I try to get it, I try to do stuff under the radar, and I tell people like, no, don't say nothing. Just go ahead and handle that. So it starts with a conversation. I'm gonna find this Jay-Z quote, but it's in the Holy Grail. You know, he says, "What's anonymous to anonymous?" Meaning, like, you're not supposed to glorify charity. You're supposed to just do it from your heart. And what's anonymous to anonymous? And it was like when Christ was giving, gifts away, he didn't want to glorify it because he was doing it because that was what he was supposed to do. So that's my take on it. Just like, people need to start conversations. People need to stop, throwing people's names around about why they ain't doing nothing. And it's like, what can we do, to help our community if the people who have money ain't doing it, or we don't know if they're doing it or not. So it's like I said, it's a slippery slope with that topic.
I agree with you, Lo.